It's not an easy topic to go on. Uh, Looking back at Sandy Hook, I think it's been about 9 years. Yeah, it's been about 9 years since Sandy Hook. And when Columbine happened, it was strange because you you look at gang life, you look at East Los gangs, you look at black gangs, you look at South Los Angeles, sometimes called South Central. You look at Compton, you look at Bell, Carson in California, you look at East Los Angeles, Boyle Heights, and there's so much corruption that when I thought about Columbine and how Mayberry-ish that town looked, somebody was going to go off and hurt people, kill people. In Sandy Hook, but Texas was when I think of I've never been really outside of the I've been to Las Vegas. I've never traveled the world. I've never traveled across states. So, unless my family got married or somebody in my family got married. So I never really went outside. So when I see these things, it's hard for me to understand. I either am dismissive, which is a careless thing, which is a lot of us are dismissive, or we have a strange perception. Like with New York, we think of New Yorkers and Brooklyn and what are you doing? And with Florida, it's by the beach, by sharks. Washington D.C., Virginia, you think of the Capitol, you think of the president, you think of the vice president. With Texas, you think of guns and the Texas Rangers and the Bible and a flask of alcohol and people carrying their guns to a restaurant, wherever. So when this shooting happened, 19 children, and worse yet was when law the local police didn't do shit, and then you had then you had like a SWAT team or something like a SWAT team, military go in at the last minute, but it was too late. There was a lot of time between the time of the shooting, the incident, and then the parents being there, and then the local police didn't do anything. They had their taser guns. They were gonna use tasers on the parents of the children who were killed. Now, I turn my brain off to a lot of these shootings, not because I don't care, but because there have been like Sharknado, and it's this is like dark for me to compare these things to movies, but it's been like bad sequels, like bad Star Wars movies and Sharknado movies and horror movies. There's been one after the other, and I don't pay attention much to TV news. I don't pay attention much to uh, the media. But when President Obama at that time, when he was crying and upset about a lot of these things happening, I genuinely believed it. But then I think, what could he have really done? And could he have done anything? Did President Trump do anything? Does our current president, is he doing anything? Is Biden doing anything? Is the next person going to do? Is Kamala Harris, President Harris, going to do anything? It's difficult to say what is done. There's a lot of political finger pointing and flipping off back and forth. Meanwhile, children are killed. And when it comes to how best we protect our children, we should not get political. Um, when it comes to how to solve these problems, it will get political, unfortunately. In some ways, it's necessary to. But we can't take away all the guns. That's not going to happen. And we cannot give everybody guns. I do remember a Michigan law that was going to be passed years ago where I think teachers could have a gun in their drawers. Like you could have an elementary teacher could have a gun nearby. I don't know if that would have solved anything or not, or if that would have saved lives or not. But you could have an irresponsible person in charge. There would have been ways. I mean, why didn't the police with those taser guns patrol the inside of that school? Why weren't they there with those? Because I thought about this with Sandy Hook. I thought if they did have guns with actual bullets and actually shooting at people, um, I think it would have been too much for those children. However, there are other combative ways like tasers to fire at somebody who's going to kill children. And I don't know how old these kids were, it doesn't matter. But kindergartners, first graders, to paint one narrative, how can you sit back? So the system is broken. I mean, what are we at this point here? I mean, what does it take to save lives? I mean, do we need superheroes? Is that what we need? I mean, it's silly, right? But I feel like we're at that point where that's what we need. If the Texas police can't do shit, and we have to get a SWAT team, we have to get the National Guard to get in there and save children's lives. What are we doing? What are we doing? We say these superhero stories are for children, and yet those children had no hope. So I'm tired of seeing this shit. I'm tired of seeing it. I can't, the first times we had fire drills, and I remember my teacher would fall down like she was really seriously hurt. And I was a bit traumatized at 6, 7, 8 years old. I didn't understand that she was acting, that she was pretending that she was falling over and hurt. That in this fire drill or earthquake drill, the teacher play acts as though she is injured and dead. And everybody somehow knew this but me. I didn't know. I asked if she was all right, and she was just like this. And that's sort of my personal encounter with when there's a tragedy in a classroom, be it by a shooter or an earthquake or fire, water, flood, whatever happens by accident or on purpose. So I don't know if there'll ever be drills for that, but it was me trying to come to grips with what is my reality. And I just don't know. I don't know. I cannot personally cry at this. I've never been a parent. I know my sisters have kids, but I've never had any children. And I don't know if I would want to put them somewhere where I'm not sure where they're going to be safe or not. But Texas, they're supposed to have guns, and that's what's baffling. They're supposed to have a no-nonsense, can-do attitude about how they handle issues with people with guns. And so all this is a mystery. The politicians are going to get involved. There's going to be legislature. There's going to be arguing in the Senate and the House, and maybe nothing will get done. But I know one thing that must get done is that we have to evaluate the safety of our children better, whether it's liable to fires, liable to earthquakes, and people coming in and opening fire, just anybody walking into a school. We just have to do way better than this. I'm sick of seeing these shootings. Ever since Columbine, it's the next one, the next one, the next one. It just got to stop. That's all I got to say. I got to go to work soon, and got to keep my head held up high. I know for one thing, for my job, I know that our children are safe. We have sheriffs and security everywhere. We have to.